Thanks for joining us today. Just kind of want to review the format of the press conference. We'll be carried live on the SEC Network. We'll start off with Dr. Matchin. We'll make some opening remarks, followed by Jeremy Foley, who will make some opening remarks. Then we'll bring up Coach Mack. He'll make some opening remarks, and we'll open the floor for questions. Following the press conference, both Jeremy and Dr. Matchin will be available off to the side for questions, and Coach Mack will be available to shake some hands real quick before he heads to his business. With that, we'll turn it over to Jeremy Foley. Dr. Matchin, I'm sorry.
So good morning, everyone. We're glad that you came to Gainesville today as we open the next chapter in Gator football. This is an important event for the whole university because intercollegiate athletics at the University of Florida is central to and integral to the activities of our university. It has great support from our students and from our faculty and staff as well as our alumni. So this is a big deal, and we look at it as an opportunity to reaffirm the values of the whole university. And we have found a coach that we believe is exactly the right person to lead us into the next era of Gator football. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to Jeremy Foley, who will introduce Coach Mack.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank you, folks, for being here today. Sorry I wasn't available earlier in the week. If you didn't know, I was in Fort Collins for a couple of days. I didn't know if you knew that. But obviously a very proud and happy day for this university, this athletic program. To introduce Jim McElwain as our new head football coach is special to all of us. The process started a little less than 3 weeks ago. Seems like a little longer than that, but we spent a lot of hours vetting and researching a lot of different coaches. And at the end of the day, Jim's name kept coming to the top of the list. He has all the qualities I discussed with you at our press conference 3 weeks ago. Offensive-minded coach, his track record on the offensive side of the ball is special. You guys can look it up. You can see the records. Most importantly, individual with high character, high integrity. We talked about that. He'll do the right thing every day. That's who he is as a person. Head coaching experience. The job he has done at Colorado State is nothing short of a miracle. When you looked at where they were before he got there and where they are today, to me that says a lot. And he's a fit for the University of Florida. I talked about that. We talked to a lot of people about Jim. What type of person is he? What type of person would he be inside the building? And the amount of people who kept saying the exact same things about him, talking about how special he was, how good a guy he was. Again, he kept rising to the top. And the add to the fact he's been in this league, he knows what it's like to compete in the Southeastern Conference. Obviously won 2 national championships in this league. He's recruited the state of Florida. Every single box kept getting checked next to Jim's name. Obviously we were blessed to go out there earlier this week, spend time with him and Karen, and certainly became very, very apparent this was the individual, as Bernie said, to take us into the next phase of our football program. He's a winner. And he's excited. We're excited to have him as Gators, excited to have his family as Gators, and I promise you, we're going to have a lot of fun together. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our new head football coach, Jim McElwain. Jim?
How we doing, guys? You doing all right? I got to tell you something now. What an honor and how humbling it is to be a part of one of the greatest brands in all of college athletics and to have the opportunity to be a part of something that's real special. You know, you look out and you see that stadium and you think about all the great people and players and tradition that has been built at the University of Florida, and that's something that is so exciting. That's something that not everybody, you know, I grew up in Montana, okay? This is things that you dream about. And yet along the way, we've had the opportunity to learn a lot of great things, meet a lot of great people, and really learn life lessons that help you be successful. And that's kind of the goal here. You know, not only in the athletic department, but when you look at the quality that is the University of Florida and that brand and what it brings with it, I can't tell you how excited myself, my wife, my kids, they've been through a lot now, all right? And for us to be a part of Gator Nation is something that means so much. And as we kind of build this moving forward, you know, I talk about this for the people who are involved in what we do and how we do it. what I would ask is let's go affect the people around us in a positive way. Let's be part of something special, and let's keep pushing it to the next step. And that's really what it's all about. And as we create the process, as we create the infrastructure, as we put the pieces in place that gives you success, those foundations and fundamentals that all people have, it's not forget one thing. It's about these players. And I want to say this, Coach Muschamp has been very helpful. And you talk about a great guy, a great ball coach, and you know what? He's put together a heck of a staff here that's going to go forward, as I've talked to them, about going and winning a bowl game. That's what it's all about right now. It's about investing in these young men who are here. Because our jobs as educators, our jobs as coaches, are to be involved in young men's lives to help them as they move on down the road. And one of the things that it's going to be, being part of the Gator family, being part of this organization, is going to do nothing more than to better you for the rest of your life. And that's really what it's all about. Guys, I just got to tell you this. This is an honor. I'm excited. I sat on the other sideline in that swamp one day, played against these guys. When you think of the Ring of Honor, when you think about the great players, you think about the great games, you think about the history and tradition that is Gator football. I cannot tell you how proud I am to be a part of that. And I look forward to a long, long history. And, you know, I guess the guy who said it best was when I talked with Coach Spurrier, and he said, Mac, welcome to Gator country. And you know what? That means a lot. And so I look forward to rekindling a lot of relationships and moving forward. So, you know, with that, guys, would love to take some questions. And you know what? I'll say it again. I'm proud to be a Gator and looking forward to the challenge ahead. Go ahead. Who do we have?
Raise your hand and I'll give it Pat. Go ahead, Pat. Over to the left, Coach.
Coach, can you just talk about your plans for staffing?
Sure.
Current members of the staff?
Absolutely. I think one of the things, first and foremost, is, you know, these guys have come here and done a great job for this university. We haven't made any plans moving forward right now as to, you know, anything as far as that goes. Obviously, it's an opportunity for me to get around these guys. We'll hit the road next week, get to as many places as humanly possible from the recruiting standpoint, because it's one of those things, recruit daily or die now, okay? And you know, we've got to make sure we secure a great class. There's some great commitments right now. There's some guys that are waiting to see kind of what's going to happen and what's going on. And, you know, that's the first and foremost that we do is go out and do that. As we kind of look through it, we'll get a chance to visit with everybody in the organization, and it isn't just the coaches. I think the one thing that's lost sometimes is not just the coaches. It's everything that touches the desk of the head football coach. And so a lot of that will be evaluated over time as we move forward and build the infrastructure that is success.
Over here to the right, Gene.
Coach, could you just talk about what you learned as a head coach at Colorado State that was different from what you anticipated just being the coordinator at Bama?
You know, I guess one of the good things is being at a place like the University of Alabama and really learning under guys, one of the greatest. I mean, he was great to me. And yet to see how the organization is built, not just the X's and O's, okay, but actually what goes into the nuts and bolts that is success. And the thing is, success in life, success out on the field, success in the practice field, success in the classroom, all of those things are built, and really that's what helps you. And there were a lot of things that you learn as a first-time head ball coach, which, you know, probably has to do spending so much time with you guys, right? That might be one of them. But really being organized in your time, I think that's one of the most important things. And making sure to make the priorities, you know, that is the players, that are the players. You know, all of those priorities are the things that we need to do. And it was a great opportunity. And I was thankful for it.
Edgar, over to the
Yeah, Coach. Who were your influences offensively, and what's the offense going to look like? Are you going to build it around the personnel?
You know, it's pretty interesting. I always get that. It's like, who are you? Well, here's who I am. I'm that dog they dropped off down at the Humane Society, all right? And he has about a little bit of every breed in it. And whatever the situation is, you try to bring that breed out that helps success. And, you know, I think first and foremost, where we learned, you know, look, my pedigree, I'm from Montana. I spent 15 years in 1AA football, which is awesome because you wear every hat in the building at one time. You know, I was everything from a PA announcer to a popcorn salesman to also a teacher and an educator at a university. So, you know, as part of the PE department there. So there's a lot of great things you learn. And when you don't have resources, what you do is you actually go study as much as you can and really try to put it in your own terms, your own words. There's not been one thing that I've invented, all right? A lot of the guys in this business think they invented it, right? It's been done, all right? Somewhere along the way, somebody did it before. And I've had great influences on my life as it goes through from the coaching standpoint. And when we get here, it's about the evaluation of the talent that's here and really accentuate what they do well, adapt to that, and then recruit to some of the areas that maybe we need to get to as we form who we are in an identity. Obviously, we believe in balance, okay? And yet, some games, based on what the defense is taking away, you need to have the versatility to do the other thing, all right? And that's really where it evolves. But as we kind of do this, the one thing is been pretty successful over the years, putting up some pretty good numbers with whoever we have back, whether it's the quarterback, the running back, the wideout, the offensive line. And it's going to be one of those deals that we will develop it based on, first, what we have to play with.
Well, what was the impetus to finally leave your comfort zone? You lived in the West for so many years at the Big Sky Conference, and what was the impetus to move to Louisville and start kind of, you know, pursuing, you know,
Well,
to get to here?
you know, it's about relationships, number one. The one great thing we know is every place we've been, we've had wonderful people touch our lives. And as a family, we can speak to that. And, you know, as far as moving up, moving on, however you want to work it, you know, the opportunity to be at this place, that's something that drives you. The opportunity to be at the top and really take your shot with the best being the SEC, the best players you're going to play against, the best coaches you're going to coach against. And, you know, I never look at anything like that except what a great challenge and what a great opportunity, you know, to match your skills against the best. And that's really what it's all about.
Sam, back to the right. Sam.
Jim, when you met with Jeremy on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it became apparent that both of you thought it was the right fit.
Sure.
Was there a time that you felt like it wasn't going to happen? How determined were you to make it happen? And can you mildly take us through that process when Jeremy came back home and those next 12 hours where you finally got the deal done?
Well, I know this. You know, an opportunity, and look, what you got to understand in collegiate athletics, when certain names come up, Jeremy's name is on the top of that list. And as he did the research on me, I did the research on him now. Okay, I didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday, all right? And every person that I talked to spoke of integrity, quality, great person to be with. And it didn't disappoint when he was able to come over and visit with us, my wife and I at the house. And that was special. And then to meet the other people around that, you know, that's special. And then at that point, really what happens is, you know, let's figure out a way to get this done. And I know how excited I am to be here and how fortunate I am to have this opportunity.
Was there a time you felt like it wasn't going to happen?
You know, I'm kind of one of those guys that, you know, look, I adapt pretty well to whatever happens, all right? I knew, I had a hunch. I thought all the time it would get taken care of. And you know what? The one thing you always do is look, you got to keep treating each moment like it's, it's its own. It's just like the game of football. Every play has a history and life of its own. Okay? Go win that play, right? That's what we do. And in that case, I'm just excited that it worked out, and I know Karen and I are really excited to be here.
George in the back
Yeah.
to the left.
Yeah, Coach, over here, you obviously have some skin in the game in terms of, you talk about closing the deal,
Uh-huh.
and you put some of your own money up to
Sure.
make sure it happened. Can you just talk about the momentum and the motivation to make sure this thing got done?
Well, you got to understand this is there's only a couple of these in the United States of America, and one of those is the Florida Gators. And to be able to have that opportunity is something that, I'm not sure I could have lived with, if given that opportunity to let it pass by. And, I'm never one to let things kind of pass by. I kind of roll up my sleeves and go get it done, and that's really what it's all about.
Christian over to the left.
Coach, kind of piggybacking off of that, what do you think of those who say there may be some added pressure because of the much publicized buyout?
Here's the beauty. Pressure, man, it's awesome, right? I mean, that's why we do this. I mean, if the one thing that I love is pressure. Now, I never look at it as feeling the pressure. I always look at it as applying the pressure. And I'm excited about that part of it. So, you know what? If there's no pressure, why wake up in the morning, right? That's really what drives me anyway.
Being in Colorado, I know you had 6 kids from Florida on
Yeah.
your roster there. How have you been able to continue those contacts from being out there, and do you think you'll be able to, will you have to rekindle some of those from coming back here?
Well, I think, here's the thing is I recruited Florida when I was at the University of Louisville. I recruited Florida when I was at Michigan State. Recruited Florida, obviously, for the University of Alabama. So what I'm excited about most of anything is rekindling the relationships. In fact, one of my good friends and former coach, Bradenton Southeast, sitting right over here, Coach McElwain, and that goes way, way back when I first got into this state. And, being able to go do that, seeing those guys, I'm excited. I'm going to hit the road on Monday morning. I'll be back, times unknown, as soon as it becomes dead again, which is the following week. And probably what I'm most excited about is rekindling the relationships and getting back involved with a lot of the players that we had an effect on their lives. And that's really what it's all about.
Mark up front, then Robbie.
Obviously, winning games is the key.
Yeah, that's a big key, by the way. If somebody told me that's what we're supposed to do, right? Okay, I like that. That's a good opener.
But getting to that point, you got to fix this offense.
Sure.
It's been pretty stagnant for 5 years now. What's the plan doing that? And spread, is it a daunting task?
Well, I think when you talk about the what, right? You don't know what it is until you evaluate what's there. And, that's got to be first and foremost. Look, historically, the ability to get explosive playmakers and get the ball in the guy's hands and, teaching a quarterback to throw it to the right colored jersey. I mean, the simplicity of this is really what it's all about, right? And so, I look at it as a great challenge, but I also look at it, when you look from a historical standpoint, it can be done. And whether it needs fixed or not, I'm not the guy that's going to say they've got good coaches here, it just didn't work, okay? And so, from that's my responsibility to make sure not only do we do that, but understand this, it takes 3 phases. It isn't just offense, it isn't just defense, and it isn't just special teams. So how do those work together cohesively to help you win the ball game? And that's really what we're here to do.
You've done pro style and spread. Any preference as to what you stick with? Now?
Yeah, whatever works.
Robbie, both have not worked here.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen some pretty good stuff that's worked here in the past, and we'll get that going.
Robbie, this team came close to winning 8 or 9 games. Is it a different rebuilding project in phase when you were at Colorado State?
Well, you got to understand historically this was only the 4th team, I think, in the history of ball that had 10 wins, and it's going to go get an 11th because they're going to go win that bowl game. And there's something very satisfying. There's great people there, and it's in great hands. And, the opportunity here, okay, to recruit a place that has unbelievable talent and a place that has a history of winning, a tradition of winning. So those are the things you kind of look at. And, every task you handle is big, okay? It doesn't matter. Brushing your teeth in the morning sometimes is really big, right? Well, I got to tell you this. The bigger, the better. That's really what it's all about, and that's why I'm here. So I'm excited to get out on the road and do some recruiting, actually.
Hubert, back to the left. Hubert.
You were born in Butte, Montana?
No, I was born in Kalispell, raised in Missoula. But those guys in Butte are tough guys now.
Well, I wondered if your philosophies were ever influenced by the most famous resident ever from Butte, Evel
Knievel. I love it. That's pretty good now. I know this. I learned not to ride motorcycles or jump cars. That's the one thing I did learn.
Thomas over here to the right. Right front, coach to the right.
Jim, you've talked a lot about kind of building your system around the players. At what point do you get to the evaluation process of what you'll have to work with?
I've already started that. The beauty of technology now, right? As soon as this kind of came to fruition, my focus was simply, let's get to work. So that's already started. We've already met on recruiting. We had an extensive meeting up through late last night, so if I look a little tired, all right, there might be a reason, okay? And but you know what? This is one of those deals that first needs to be evaluated. You don't make snap judgments, right? And what you got to do is you got to sit back, reflect, learn, take in, and then make the process move forward.
Who did you meet with?
The entire staff. In the football organization part of it, and then we'll do that again here today and tomorrow, and then we'll set the road recruiting.
Jonathan over here to the left.
Jim, I know you mentioned earlier that no decisions were made about the coaching staff yet, but you also mentioned how important that is to recruits. So
Yeah.
What's the ideal time to get that finalized to your entire coaching staff?
Well, here's the key. Get the best. Get the best that's a fit for the university, right? Get the best that's a fit for the area, and we'll do that very diligent. And, I'm not sure there is a timeline, I mean, look, this is who I am. If you can't look at the track record and say this is what happens, right, when he gets around, we'll make it right.
And you also mentioned that this is one of the premier jobs in the country, but Michigan and Nebraska also opened up. Did they contact you at all, or did you have any inkling to maybe think about going there?
I'm a Gator.
Holly in the back to the left.
I liked your enthusiasm with that answer. You had mentioned that you had spoken with Steve Spurrier. He welcomed you to Gator Country.
Yeah.
What advice did he give you? And you also mentioned that you steal some plays from other people's bag of tricks. Are we
Well,
gonna
in
see some
fact, he's
fun
got
gun?
one that we actually used against him, all right, and that I've actually carried with me. We call it Cadillac. Why? Why not? Okay, I don't know, because he didn't teach it to me, but I looked at it enough on film on cut-ups, right? He's a guy I had an opportunity to meet, previously with an organization that we were together with, and he's one of those guys I've always kind of looked at what he's done. The great thing about video now, and before it was cutting up 16 millimeter film and taping it together and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm actually able to get it, organize it, put it in files, and study it. And obviously, the brand of ball he plays is something that I've always admired from afar.
So we might see some fun and gun back here.
I don't know what you call it, but it'll be a blast.
Buddy up front to the right, then Pat. Right here.
Coach McElwain, welcome to Gator Country.
Well, thank you very much.
Do you have a name for your offense at all? Just call it the Alabama offense around here. What is your offense?
How about the Humane Society?
I want to ask you about your receivers. As one person said earlier, Mark, getting the ball to the guy in the right colored jersey sounds simple, but isn't simple. You had one guy in Fort Collins who did. Rashard Higgins was phenomenal. I think he leads the nation in total yards and
Total yards, touchdowns?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
not a bad
sim-
ball player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As simple as that sounds, how did you get him open and get the ball to him so
You
much?
know, it's interesting, being with different philosophies along the way, right? There was one, when you got on your call sheet, it says, get it to, okay? It's pretty simple, all right? There's this column that says, get it to, and that means get it to the guy that can score, right? I bet you Coach Donovan over there, they actually run plays for a guy to get open for a three-pointer, right? I'm guessing. And by the way, I'm a huge basketball fan, so I'll probably be bothering the heck out of him, okay? But, it's about get-it-tos, and then it's about finding who those people are and then determining situations and touches throughout a game for you to be successful. And you got to do that through multiple formations, multiple shifts, because people can start to take guys away if they're just standing in one position, So that's where the multiplicity of what you're trying to accomplish comes to fruition.
Thank you.
Pat or to the left, and then Richard. Pass to the left.
Can you just talk about when Will was fired 3 or whatever it was 3 weeks ago?
Uh-huh.
And where was the moment when you went, I wonder if I have a chance at that job? Was there a
You know
moment?
what? I think even before then, and let me tell you something. You talk about one of the great guys in this game and one of the great ball coaches in this game. That's Will Muschamp. But when you said that, I would say this. The first time I was actually in this state recruiting, that's when I knew I wanted to be a Gator, because I saw the influence and saw what it's all about. And so this goes a long time. I'm sitting here, what was that, Paul? But we were together when I was at Montana State, but it was shortly after that. I can't remember. It's been a while. I'm not real good on math. Eastern Washington education, sorry. Nothing against the red turf now. You guys seen that stuff? Okay, so let me tell you a story about that, all right? So we're at Alabama, and some guy comes and says they want to put red turf at Eastern Washington University. Well, at the time, we put a little nest egg together for an outdoor kitchen because I love to cook. I love that. That's kind of what I do, right? Well, all of a sudden, about a 5x5 square of the red turf was basically our outdoor kitchen, wasn't it, Karen? Isn't it about the deal? So.
Richard in the back to the right.
Coach, you talked about obviously that Colorado State and Florida are two very different places, but were there things that you want to do immediately there that you also want to do here?
Absolutely. And that's build the infrastructure, develop the process, and create the environment that is successful in today's world of college football. Things change, man. You got to be on the cutting edge, and there's a lot of things within that, and yet I'm not prepared to say what, because I haven't had a chance to evaluate exactly the what, if that makes sense. So I guess the good thing is seeing the model, all right, and then adapting that to whatever place you're at, kind of what it's all about. And I look forward to getting that in place here.
And being your first head coaching job at Colorado State, what are some things that you did there that maybe didn't work? And kind of looking in the mirror, how did you evolve as a coach?
So you think I'm going to tell you my secrets? The one thing you got to understand, everything starts with the relationships. Doesn't matter what business you're in, and doesn't matter what field you're in. That's first and foremost. And so that's my responsibility, build a relationship with each and every player, each and every person in the department, the people on campus, the professors, the people in the administration. That's what it is, because at the end of the day, what do we want? The common goal is to be successful, right? And so that's where it starts.
Zach, over to the right.
Jim, as an offensive coach, you've coached at the highest level in the NFL with the Oakland Raiders. You coached in Alabama.
Well, some people would have said I didn't coach in the National Football League. I coached at the Raiders, right? Okay? But I got to tell you, what a great experience that was. And I will say this, Mr. Davis was great to me. So I was fortunate for the opportunity.
Yeah, so you've coached there. Obviously, you've coached at Alabama, one of the best football programs in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've also coached at smaller schools that maybe didn't have the skill set as those places did. How have you been able to adjust with different talent as an offensive coach? How difficult is that, and how have you been able to be successful?
Well, I think what that, number one, is being able to adjust, adapt, and overcome, right? And have enough security in who you are and what you're all about to go ahead and do what it takes for that unit to be successful. And look, every year you're going to have new players. That's the way it is. And so, whether it's having to throw it 80 times a game, whether it's having to throw it 40 times a game, it really depends, number one, on who you have, number two, how that fits and matches with your defense, and how the special teams can change field position. Those are all the keys. And at the end of the day, whether you have 2 yards on offense or 900 yards on offense, win the game, right? I always get a kick out of all these people that love their statistics. Well, let's look at the win and loss, right? And that's a overall thing with an organization and a program to be successful.
And the next time we see you is probably going to be on signing day when you have your class.
Do I get to see him on signing day? Is that the deal? You haven't told me that yet. All right. So here's what I want to know. Wait a minute. What's he serve? What's he serve for lunch and stuff when we do this stuff? I got to know, right? I'm doing an interview too here.
I like the food.
What is it?
I like the mix of everything. They got something different every week.
Well, what's your favorite?
Probably the
chicken
yeah,
parmesan.
Chicken, yeah, chicken parmesan.
We got to adjust that now. All right.
Are you going to cook for us?
You know what? I hope to have the time.
But the next time we see you, Coach, you'll have your class. How would you describe yourself as a recruiter, and what's going to be your message to guys to get them to come here and build
Well,
this
number
class?
one, you got an opportunity to win a national championship. But first and foremost, it's about what that's going to do for the rest of your life, what being a Gator is, and then adjusting to that and understanding, look, we're here to make sure that your experience is going to do nothing but set you apart for the rest of your life. And that's what it is to be a Gator.
Antonio, over here to the right.
Right here. I've got a couple, so don't try to cut
I'm
me
sorry.
off, Steve. First of all, you mentioned relationships and building relationships, and I read in the Colorado paper, one of the Colorado papers, that you were emotional when you went in to talk to your team, and I'm just wondering how that was, considering how you went in, helped turn around, and I'm sure the bond you had with them.
That was that was hard. And why was it hard? Because these young men truly invested in something that was bigger than themselves. And they gave of themselves and really changed a culture. And I was so proud of them. And they'll always, obviously, have a special bond in my heart. But that's who I am. I care about people. And I want them to be successful so bad. And you know what? I owe them a lot. And you know what? Those guys meant the world to me.
Did you talk to Coach Saban about this job, and if so, what did he tell you?
No, he's busy right now.
He mentioned that he mentioned something about it. So I don't know if you had talked to him.
He obviously is a guy that means a ton to me. And for him to take a chance on an unknown guy from out west to come run his offense and be a part of, one of the best organizations, from that standpoint, I owe him everything. and he's been very supportive ever since then. His wife Terry is fantastic with Karen. You know, I owe him a lot, and you know, I hope the next time I see him, will actually, is that finable?
He's got the next question.
All right.
Hey,
But
and-
I hope the next time we see each other is probably in Atlanta, right? Around this time of year?
And last one for you. I don't know how deeply you've gotten into your evaluations, but can you win with the quarterbacks that Florida has on this, or do you have to go out and get yourself a quarterback?
You know, I don't think that's fair yet. I haven't, you know, been with them yet. I haven't, you know, I've seen some things, but I think being able to watch them kind of interact with the team, see how they practice, you know, we'll get an idea. But, you know, you got to understand this. I believe I can win with my dog Clarabelle. So, you know, that's, you know, I mean, but that's the attitude. So, you know, there's good players here, and that's just our responsibility to get that going.
Coach, you're known as an offense guy, but also as a quarterback guy. You know, you've helped develop guys like McElwain and McCarron, and of course, your kid at Colorado State's going great guns. What's the key to doing that? And do you consider yourself a quarterback guy?
Eliminate the clutter. That's the key. Eliminate the clutter and understand the important things. And first and foremost, the important thing is affecting the people around you in a positive way. That's first and foremost. Second thing is be one of those guys that's going to outstudy every person there is on what you need to do from a game plan standpoint, what you need to do from a characteristic standpoint to stand apart. And the last thing is throw it to the colored jersey we're wearing.
Steve in the back to the left.
Hi, Coach. You went to Colorado State, and you didn't. Those kids didn't know you. You turned it around quickly. They, like, I guess, bought in. What
Well,
kind of a process?
I'd say so.
Yeah. What kind of a process was that to go through, and what will you do here to get these kids to buy into you?
Well, you know, it's hard because it's changed. You know, each one of our lives, anytime anything's different, right, there's a sense of, oh, you know, what's next? And yet, you know, one of the things is it's about building the relationship and building the trust. You know, these guys are going to know, look, I'm not one of these guys going to come in and say, hey, you're someone else. No, that isn't how it works. You're Gators. I'm a Gator. Give me that opportunity to be part of your life and impact it in a positive way. It's not for everybody. You know, those are choices and decisions we all make. And, you know, my deal is to understand, you know, you trust me, I trust you. You know, that's a two-way street. And developing that, you know, it happens over time. And, you know, it's hard. And yet, you know, I look forward to that. I look forward to being part of these guys' lives. This isn't just about ball now. This is about creating a brand for yourself. And this is about setting you apart for the rest of your life. And that's kind of been how I do it. And I look forward to being involved in these guys' lives. And part of that is winning some ball games. And so, you know what? I've got a blueprint on kind of how that works, and yet every place is different. So you need to adjust the blueprint based on what's there. It's that simple.
All right, for a couple final questions. Daniel to the left.
Hey, Coach. Have you talked to any players individually yet, and when will you meet with them?
You know, I haven't. You know, what we'll do is have a team meeting on Monday morning. What is today? Today's Saturday? Yeah, okay, good. All day? Well, you didn't tell me you were going to make them work on Saturday. What the heck? Is that right? But we'll have that visit then.
What message do you want to get across to them?
Embrace what they're doing. You're Gators. Let's go win a bowl game, right?
Speaking of the bowl game, what will be your role during that process?
Eating popcorn. I'm going to see what the normal guy does. Maybe we'll go tailgate. I don't know. Can we do that, Bernie? You and I? We go set up a grill?
Over here to the left, Larry in the back to the right.
Hi, Jim. Welcome. There have been dozens of very positive comments about you getting the Florida job from kids you coached at Alabama, as well as some of your Colorado State players as well. What has that meant to you?
Well, each and every person, you get an opportunity to affect somebody. You get an opportunity to be a part of something special, and that's a young man's life. And that means a lot. And, that's really what we're put on this earth to do, is be a big part and help young men. And I've had some great guys now.
And in the event you try to win with Carabelle, is it safe to assume you'd run the spread rather than a
I
pro
tell you
style?
what, you ought to see how quick she is. She can really go now.
Two final questions. We'll land it over to the left, and we'll wrap it up with Gene to the right.
Coach, you've worked with some pretty good running backs, obviously, over your time. Just what do you plan
Yeah,
on
not
still-
bad ones. Yeah. And you know what's amazing? They make you a pretty good coach, too.
what do you plan on instilling in Kelvin Taylor and some of those other guys?
Well, I think the one thing they're going to be able to look at is say, this guy's had some guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll fit the system to, whatever their traits are. We were different, obviously, with Eddie than we were Trent, than we were Mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just left a place where last year, the running back led the country, I think, in touchdowns.
Yeah,
I think
pretty
Capri
good.
did,
Yeah.
That ain't bad, right? And then replaced him this year with a guy, obviously, in D that took off. And so, I think if there's a running back out there, they might want to take a look.
Coach, when you were at Alabama, did you feel Florida was the other program in the SEC where you felt a coach would have the best opportunity to win?
Well, I think that goes back to answering when I first started recruiting, this area and getting a feel for what the South is and what the Southeast Conference is. And, it is one of those. And there aren't many of them. And that's what makes this such a great challenge, a great honor, is to be part of Gator Nation. All right, we good? Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Dr. Matchin and Jeremy Foley will be available for questions. If you want to shake Coach Mack's hand, he'll be available for 5 minutes before he heads back down to work.